This poor man was sentenced to death by the rich for stealing 2 peanuts. They opened the window of the fast-moving train and put the man's arm directly outside the window. The pain was excruciating due to the powerful tearing sensation, but after just 3 seconds he was immediately pain-free. It turned out that the temperature on Earth had dropped to minus 300 degrees. The man's arm was frozen to the point of total loss of sensation. The rich man even put his shoe on top of his head, warning the other poor people in the audience. The people at the bottom should stay like shoes on the bottom of their feet and not on top of their heads. With that he ordered his men to pull the man back into the carriage. His arms were already freezing crisp and the man said he knew he was wrong and begged for mercy. But the rich man went even further and smashed a hammer into his arm. The cruelty of the scene was too much for Matt to bear. He was determined to lead a revolt against the poor at the bottom. After analysis they found that the 3 steel doors could only be opened for 4 seconds at a time. There must not be enough time for so many of them to get through. So to reach the upper carriages they must need something to jam the doors. So they set up a long line of barrels. The action begins with the poor shouting for the conductor. The soldiers then immediately pulled out their rifles and threatened them to stop. But Matt, alone, crossed the crowd and stepped forward. He pulled out their rifles and pointed them at his own head and pulled the trigger on the spot. Matt was right. The soldiers had run out of bullets from the rebellion 4 years earlier. The poor people immediately attacked. They jammed one steel door after another with a long line of barrels. The soldiers were quickly overwhelmed by their superior numbers, and they made it to the middle of the train. It was the first time they had ever seen a window in a train, but when they opened them, they were stunned by the sight of the world outside. They were the last survivors on the train. A little further on was the food production car. The sight of the endless protein blocks was a mad scramble for the poor. Matt went to the top to see how the food they had grown up eating was made, but what he saw before him made him throw up on the spot from his breakfast the day before.